A desolate scene, this collapse is the result of an earthquake that shook the entire world, causing dungeons to appear. Monsters of all kinds emerged from the dungeons unaffected by normal weapons. At this time, the only ones who could defeat them were people who possessed a type of supernatural power called a skill. By using skills to defeat monsters, these individuals could level up and reach unexpected heights. An image of a person in shining armor appears. A hero feared and respected by all, known as the mutant. In a corner of the dungeon, a person is holding a long sword facing a monster. That's Kisaragi Tsukasa, level 4 with the imitation skill. He's holding a sword charging at the goblin. When he gets close, he shouts and swings his sword horizontally. However, the attack doesn't cause much damage, it's just like scratching an itch for the monster. At this moment, his status window appears with a notification. Imitation skill cannot copy the target's skill. Realizing this, he can do nothing but frown and click his tongue. While he is distracted, the goblin jumps up with a club to counterattack. Just as its weapon is about to reach him, a voice comes from nowhere. Burn fireball. This person summoned a fireball with extremely high damage that directly hit the goblin, turning it to ash. Tsukasa falls to the ground. This move saved him, but the first words from his savior are mocking. You shouldn't struggle like that just to kill a small fry mob, you idiot. The one who said that is Todo Kakeru, level 15 with the fire magic skill. Tsukasa looks up at him. The person standing before me is Todo Kakeru. He is considered a rising star in the current generation of mutants. The reason lies in the skill he possesses. Skills began to appear in a group of people at the same time as the dungeons, and they can determine the rank and superiority of a mutant. Kakeru turns his back and says to him, "Don't just sit there spacing out, Kisaragi. Go pick up the magic stones. At least try to be useful, will you?" It's unclear how he feels hearing this sarcasm. He just says in a low voice, "I understand." And the skill Kakeru received is fire magic. It's an exceptionally strong skill that allows him to control fire at will. Tsukasa compares himself. As for my skill, imitation. The imitation skill is effective after physical contact with a monster. The individual can then use that monster's skill. He explains, it helps me copy a monster's skill. But the success rate is extremely rare, and it forces me to take risks to get close to the monster. He follows Kakeru's words and picks up the magic stone, thinking bitterly, this is a flawed skill. One of the two team members asks him, "Hey, how long did it take you to clear that dungeon?" That guy is Yoshimura Riku, level 10 with the super strength skill. The other one mocks, "You can't even fight. And your skill is pathetic. Why don't you just give up?" That's Ino Hayato, level 11 with the super speed skill. And the last one is Kakeru, who puts his arm around his shoulder, acting friendly, but his words are like knives. "Don't say that. We're all comrades here, aren't we?" He brings his face close to him with a contemptuous attitude. "Try to make the most of that trash skill of yours, big brother." It seems Tsukasa is used to these taunts, so he doesn't retort, "The reason I became an adventurer? Is to cure my little sister Kisaragi Mayu, my only relative, from the congenital disease she has to endure. And what I need for this purpose is the elixir, the panacea that can cure my sister. Until I get it, I will not give up on being an adventurer." Back to the present, Riku asks, "So what's our target for today?" Hayato replies, "We're not going to the worm's nest, are we?" Kakeru steps on that rock and says, "Today's target is the monster nest." He laughs arrogantly, "We'll go there and take all the treasure for ourselves." After reaching the nest, he unleashes his skill without a second thought. "Have a taste of fire, you goblins." This one attack incinerates all the monsters. His status window displays a notification. Todo Kakeru has leveled up from level 15 to level 16. Fire magic skill. Even though they're just goblins, I can still level up if I wipe them all out. Meanwhile, Tsukasa watches and frowns. Damn it. He sees himself being left behind. The only way to level up is to kill monsters. But I can't do it on my own. Even when I'm in a party, Todo and the others kill them all, so I don't get any experience. He clenches his fist, his face showing worry. If things continue like this, it's useless to go with them. The group enters the goblin cave for a while and reaches a place full of treasure. Hayato and Riku joyfully rush to the pile of gold, while Kakeru hesitates as if sensing something. He walks to an empty spot and touches the wall, catching his attention. Then he suddenly unleashes a skill that blows up the wall, sending dirt and rocks flying. After the explosion behind the empty wall, a meticulously carved golden door appears. One person exclaims, "I can't believe there's a bonus room here." In dungeons, when a bonus room is found, it's usually filled with powerful and rare items, but on the other hand, it can also be a place full of traps. If you're unlucky enough to encounter a dangerous trap, you'll be killed instantly. Riku asks uncertainly, "What if it's a trap to do?" He says confidently, "No problem, I have a great idea." Then he comes up behind Tsukasa and says, "Sorry about this, Kisaragi." Then before he can react, Kakeru lands a surprise punch to his face, knocking him down. After that, he grabs Tsukasa's neck tightly and announces, "You're going to die for us." Kakeru's face is full of arrogance and malice as he says this. Tsukasa, still bewildered, asks back, "What are you talking about?" Seeing the situation getting out of hand, Riku uncertainly calls out to him, "Wait, are you planning to use Kisaragi to trigger the trap?" Hayato also tries to reason with him. "Using a classmate as a guinea pig like that is a bit cruel, Todo." Kakeru acts as if it's nothing. "Cruel? Are you kidding? I'm just finding a way to recycle this piece of trash." After saying that, the two team members who were only pretending to stop him end up grabbing Tsukasa from both sides and dragging him to the door. He gets kicked in and Kakeru even uses a polite tone, "Thanks for the help." He squints and smiles, but his words are full of contempt. "See you when you make it out of here alive, Kisaragi." He can do nothing but grit his teeth and curse, "Get lost." Finally, they close the door, trapping him inside. Tsukasa sits on the floor, head down. Damn it! Suddenly, a blinding blue halo of light appears. Surprised, he covers his eyes with his hand. Huh. When he opens his eyes again, the surrounding scenery leaves Tsukasa bewildered. This place. What is this? A magnificent ancient coliseum appears. Suddenly, Tsukasa feels a chill down his spine because every dungeon has its own level. Beginner, intermediate, advanced, master, and a level that no one had ever conquered before. Legendary. First the feet, then gradually the eyes, the mouth. And finally, a wolf-like monster radiating ferocity materializes, roaring intimidatingly. It's Godslayer Fenrir, level 80 skills unknown. Tsukasa can't believe it. This is a joke, right? Is this really a legendary rank dungeon? He pushes himself up with his hands, forcing a smile. How could that low-level dungeon lead here? Don't joke with me. Tsukasa stands up straight, clenching his fist. But still I refuse. He remembers his past. One day his parents suddenly passed away. Mayu became my only relative. Instead of running away, he points his sword at the wolf. His face shows determination as he says loudly, "For Mayu, I refuse to die in a place like this." With that, he leaps forward to close the distance. "Take this, you bastard." The wolf, as if provoked, lets out a roar. He takes the opportunity to touch it to activate his skill, but it's useless. Tsukasa is sent flying by its pressure, crashing into the wall. He slumps to the ground. The status window appears. Imitation skill cannot copy the target's skill. Tsukasa spits blood. Is this really the end? It can't be. He doesn't allow himself to give up and struggles to his feet. However, he is now a spent force. The last image he remembers is the silhouette of his sister. It's a beautiful little girl with light brown hair smiling brightly. "I'm sorry, Mayu. I'm pathetic." He slowly closes his eyes, accepting his own powerlessness. Suddenly, a command rings out. "Sit." This one word creates an invisible pressure in the space. The Fenrir wolf, baring its fangs and claws, is suddenly forced to lie down. He is shocked. How is Fenrir? That voice rings out again. "Good boy, Fenrir." Footsteps, hair. And finally, the person's face appears. It's a beautiful girl with white hair and red eyes wearing a long black dress. She smiles gently and says, "You know, I'd be very grateful if you were a little gentler with him. He's a guest after all. Welcome to my castle. It's a pleasure to meet you." Tsukasa, sitting on the ground, looks up and asks, "Who are you?" She places a finger on her lips, her eyes radiating mystery. "Oh, you look better than I thought, but I guess you're not really okay because right now you're..." Loki reaches out and touches Tsukasa's cheek, startling him. What are you doing? Before he can finish his question, she continues her previous thought, my gift. At this moment, a brilliant red magic circle appears beneath the two of them. The mysterious voice from before appears again, be grateful. Then Tsukasa's eyes widen. His body feels like something is being infused into it. And the status window displays continuous notifications. Imitation skill has evolved into mimicry. A large amount of power has been received. You will level up now. Tsukasa levels up from level 4 to 25, his imitation skill evolving into mimicry. This leaves him utterly astonished. I leveled up, and my skill did too. What the hell just happened? Loki finished with her work smiles with interest. Then she looks at Tsukasa on the ground and says, well, I'm off. A puff of black smoke appears. Tsukasa coughs up blood and struggles. Please wait. Can you explain what? Loki interrupts him again. Use your new power to defeat it. Once you do, you'll be able to leave this legendary rank dungeon you mimic. She leaves behind a laugh and disappears. Tsukasa, trembling, uses his sword to stand up and face the roaring Fenrir. Are you kidding me? How am I supposed to beat this monster? Fenrir doesn't hesitate, raising a sharp claw and swiping at Tsukasa. He quickly raises his sword to block. Coincidentally, this unintentionally causes the status window to display a notification, mimicry skill has been activated. Tsukasa is knocked back. Target Godslayer Fenrir, skill has been copied. He curses in helpless disbelief. Damn it, how can I possibly fight this thing? Suddenly Tsukasa senses something, The status window informs him, Godslayer Fenrir successfully copied the target's skill. It's only then that Tsukasa realizes, I copied Fenrir's skill. The status window displays a notification, successfully copied the skill of the god-beast Fenrir. Skill, Divine Intimidation. Effect grants the majestic appearance of a god and enhances physical abilities to their maximum. Duration, 1 minute. Tsukasa, seeing a glimmer of hope, smirks. If I use this skill, I might just be able to win. He frowns. But the duration is only 1 minute. I need to get used to it quickly. He stands tall, facing the roaring Fenrir. It suddenly leaps towards Tsukasa, but he manages to dodge Fenrir's pouncing claws. After unlocking the skill, he realizes he can effortlessly dodge Fenrir's relentless attacks, something he couldn't do before. Tsukasa blocks an attack and understands my body is so light. So my stats increased, making my reflexes sharper too, Not only that, he can even counterattack to some extent. I can copy Fenrir's skills too. The status window appears. Skill, Clumsy Imitation. Effect has a low probability of copying the target's skill. Copied skills disappear immediately after use. Condition, touch the target. And another skill Tsukasa acquired, Mimicry. What a terrifying skill, the status window explains. Skill, Mimicry. Effect 100% chance to copy the target's skill. Copied skills do not disappear. Condition, touch the target or experience the skill yourself. He reads and thinks to himself, a 100% copy rate just by touching is great. But what about experiencing it? Fenrir, unable to take down its small prey, grows impatient and unleashes a wave of intimidating aura towards him. This attack makes Tsukasa cough in pain, but at the same time it unlocks a new skill. Skill, Wolf King's Aura, which hinders movement. He clutches his throat, kneeling in difficulty, thinking, can't breathe. The status window shows the details of the new skill, Wolf King's Aura, successfully copied. Skill, Wolf King's Aura. Detail, the threat of the silver wolf. Effect, significantly hinders the target's movement. Duration, 10 seconds, changes with level. Tsukasa sees it and immediately understands, so that's how it is. So experiencing it means getting hit by the skill. That's enough to make me cry. Suddenly, Tsukasa is startled as Fenrir unleashes another new skill, Vanargand. Its 4 claws transform into 4 large blades that can slice through the stone floor, hurtling towards him. Tsukasa is shocked, but his enhanced reflexes allow him to escape certain death. This attack from Fenrir is so powerful, it leaves 4 huge claw marks gouged into the stone floor. And he whispers in relief, if I had taken that hit, I would have been obliterated. Fenrir doesn't rest raising its claws to slash. He continues to swing his sword to block the attacks. If this keeps up, I'll lose. Even with a 100% copy rate, if I'd taken that last hit, I'd definitely be dead, but the longer the battle drags on, the more he understands the gap in their power, and he secretly formulates a battle plan. Skill, Divine Intimidation. Effect: grants the majestic appearance of a god and enhances physical abilities to their maximum. Duration: 1 minute. This skill seems to be his saving grace, making him think, if it's this skill, Fenrir once again throws out the Vanagan attack from before. In this dire situation, Tsukasa yells, "It's all or nothing," and activates the skill. Divine Intimidation is activated. As soon as the status window shows this notification, Tsukasa enters his strongest current state. He leaps up, avoiding the attack range of the Vanagan skill. In the hazy dust, Tsukasa unlocks another new skill. Vanargan's skill successfully copied. He reveals an unusually calm demeanor with sharp, cold eyes. Divine Intimidation has 60 seconds until it ends. Divine Intimidation has 50 seconds until it ends. The status window shows Divine Intimidation has 30 seconds until it ends. Tsukasa raises his sword, high blue enhancement power and black lightning enveloping it, then he swings the sword down hard. Mimicking Fenrir, he unleashes an extremely powerful Vanargan skill towards it. Fenrir is hit. Duration timer: Divine Intimidation has 50 seconds remaining until it ends. Tsukasa takes advantage of Fenrir being stunned to close in and land a series of slashes. He thinks joyfully to himself, "This is Divine Intimidation. Power is surging through me. If it's like this, I can defeat it." Fenrir roars from the relentless attacks. As Tsukasa thinks this, he doesn't hesitate to land a kick to its face, slamming it hard onto the ground. The status window appears, Divine Intimidation, has 30 seconds until it ends. He sees it and thinks, there are still 30 seconds left on the duration. Then, not missing a moment, he rushes forward, continuously slashing at Fenrir. However, it's not a pushover and unleashes a defensive move. He thinks, 20 seconds left. To beat it, I'll need another Vanargan. With that thought, Tsukasa retreats to prepare the skill again. It seems great minds think alike, as both he and Fenrir unleash the Vanargan skill at the same time. The two immense forces collide, creating sparks of lightning. However, due to the level difference, Fenrir's attack has the upper hand. He quickly dodges out of the way. Tsukasa also realizes, so because of the level gap, long-range attacks are useless, huh? If that's the case, I have to attack head-on. Tsukasa rushes forward with a different approach. However, Fenrir opens its mouth about to unleash another attack. Tsukasa notices, that is, oh no, no time to wait. With 8 seconds left before Divine Intimidation wears off, Fenrir spews out an immense source of power. It creates an explosion that would surely obliterate anyone caught in it. Fortunately, Tsukasa manages to escape. He jumps up. 6 seconds left until it ends. Fenrir opens its mouth, wanting to use the same attack again. 5 seconds left. He shouts, "As if I'd let you shoot again." Then he throws his sword down, striking directly at Fenrir's eye. Now, there are 4 seconds left. Fenrir, its eye injured, roars in pain. Tsukasa lands on its head and pulls his sword out. 3 seconds left. Then he raises his sword again with the words, "It's over." 2 seconds left. Then he shouts and plunges his sword down, intending to finish Fenrir. Now, there's only 1 second left. Suddenly, Loki's voice rings out. That's enough! The tip of Tsukasa's sword is just a few centimeters from Fenrir's eye. He trembles, restraining himself. When Loki gave the command, he accidentally copied a skill from her. The status window shows another notification. Mimicry skill activated. Gonzo's skill successfully copied. Loki appears, clapping in praise. That was tough, wasn't it? What a wonderful match. Then she snaps her fingers, making a sound of reconciliation. The match ends here. How about we start a peaceful tea party now? A while later, Tsukasa rubs his shoulder, watching Loki sit on Fenrir, who obediently lets her. He asks, "So why did you do all this?" Loki flips her hair and replies, "If I have to say, I guess it was just to kill time." She recalls the past. Adventurers rarely come here, and even if they do, they're quickly defeated by it. But I never expected someone like you to appear. This statement confuses him. Loki approaches. Can you listen to my wish? He asks back. Your wish. She touches his cheek and whispers, I want to see the outside world freely. Loki explains, when I go outside, my mana core weakens, making it impossible for me to move freely. That's why I want your cooperation. Hearing this, he immediately agrees, I understand, which makes her laugh in surprise. Right away, Tsukasa looks at her silently assessing. And there are still many mysteries, so I can't trust you completely, but thanks to you, I was able to fight back against Fenrir, so I think cooperation is the best option. He looks at her sincerely and says, you want to freely see the outside, right, specifically, but suddenly his vision blurs. Then he collapses and is caught by Loki. She says, you've used too much strength, so it's understandable. Before passing out, he asks, what is your name? She gently replies, my name is Loki. From now on, let's help each other, Kisaragi Tsukasa. Then he loses consciousness. Sometime later, when he opens his eyes again, the ceiling is unfamiliar. A voice rings out, finally awake, you sleepyhead. Making him still drowsy, ask back, who's there? Loki sighs. Honestly, you've forgotten already. She sits on a chair with the body of a child laughing reproachfully at him. You're truly a cruel one. Loki in a child's body sits on a hospital chair laughing reproachfully at him. Oh my, have you forgotten already? What a faithless man. Hearing her way of speaking makes him realize, could it be? Miss Loki. She jumps off the chair. Don't call me Miss Loki. Just Loki is fine. Then she climbs onto Tsukasa and says, I thought I was about to have some fun in the outside world, but who knew you'd end up bedridden? How dare you make me bored? She sits on Tsukasa, stroking his hair, looking at him with a mysterious expression. You have to take responsibility. This makes him blush. First, please get off me, then we can talk. A while later, Tsukasa, with a serious expression, asks, what happened after I passed out? Can you tell me? Loki sits cross-legged on the edge of the bed and answers, after you fainted, I carried you and teleported back to the beginner dungeon. He understands clearly. I see. So why am I in a hospital? This word confuses her a bit. She repeats, hospital. Ah, you mean this place. She says, after teleporting, I placed you right there. Then an adventurer happened to pass by and found you. That person contacted others and brought you here. As she speaks, she uses magic to take an apple from the patient's fruit bowl. Loki happily eats the apple while Tsukasa is still wondering, but if you can teleport instantly, why have you never gone outside? She answers, because I am a god. I need a lot of mana to maintain my true form. There's very little mana on the surface, so I can only use this child form. But with this form, how can I go sightseeing freely? He touches his chin in agreement. That's true. The police would immediately question it. Suddenly it seems she thinks he's asking too many questions and bonks Tsukasa on the head reproachfully. You talk too much. Tsukasa rubs his head and continues to wonder, more importantly, why did you save me? Loki spins the apple with magic and replies, because I thought you would agree to cooperate. Ah, suddenly she stops. No. Then she smirks mischievously. Let's save the details for later, she says, confusing him. She snaps her fingers, summoning the black aura just like in the dungeon. Seeing this, he understands and asks, where are you going? She turns her head, smiles at him and says, I'm not so rude as to disturb other people's family time. So see you later, Tsukasa. As soon as she finished speaking, Loki disappeared, leaving only a wisp of black smoke. Suddenly, a sound catches his attention. Seriously, the person standing outside the hospital room door is none other than his little sister, Mayu. She stands there looking at him, then calls out his name, Tsukasa. Tsukasa is also very surprised and calls his sister's name Mayu. Then Mayu runs and throws herself into his arms, shouting loudly, Tsukasa! She clings to his shirt, crying and scolding him. You silly big brother, you were unconscious for a whole week. The doctor even said you might not wake up again. Hearing this, he smiles, gently pats his sister's head and calmly says, a week. I was asleep for that long, huh? I made you worry. I'm sorry, Mayu. But she still clutches the blanket, her voice low. You're really awake. Thank goodness. If I lost you too, brother, He calmly comforts his sister. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere because I still have you. Hearing this, Mayu's tears fall, but she smiles happily. After that, Mayu tells him, then be a good boy for a bit, okay? Big brother. He honestly agrees. I know. You shouldn't overdo it either. She walks to the door and winks at him. Don't worry. Lately I've been feeling better physically. As soon as Mayu leaves, he sighs in relief. Honestly, I can't rest easy with her. At this moment, Loki, who had disappeared, returns and asks him, Tsukasa, was that little girl just now your sister? He confirms with a gentle expression, she's my only remaining relative. He recalls the time his sister coughed up blood and explains, Mayu has been frail ever since she was born. The doctors also said there's no way to cure her. That's why I go down into the dungeons to search for a medicine that can cure all diseases. Hearing him say that, Loki also tells him the truth, shattering his illusion. It's a pity, but Tsukasa, she has a contemplative look, the disease your sister is suffering from. It seems even that Panacea can't do anything about it. This information is so shocking to Tsukasa that his face shows a hint of anger. What? What does that mean? Loki quickly explains, the reason your sister's body is so frail is probably due to a dungeon curse. He repeats, a dungeon curse. And Loki continues, to be more precise, it's a curse from a skill. She lazily sits down on the chair. I don't know who it was. It was probably caused by someone of the god class just like me. Hearing this, Tsukasa leans forward questioning, a curse skill. So all I have to do is defeat that god and break the curse, right? She gives him the answer. That's right. Tsukasa suddenly calls out, Miss Loki? No Loki. This gets her attention. He clenches his fist and looks at her with eyes full of determination. I will defeat that person and break Mayu's curse. Can you cooperate with me? She thinks for a moment, then stands up and replies, all right. Loki shows her confidence, smiling at him. I'll cooperate with you for entertainment's sake. I'm also interested in the one who cast that curse. He is overjoyed. Thank you. Loki swings her arms and legs, excitedly planning with him. It's decided then. Let's go deep into the dungeons and do special training every day. To challenge a legendary rank dungeon, practical experience is essential. Tsukasa sweats and says honestly, I really want to do that too, but I still have to go to school. This word makes Loki wonder, what's a school? He explains to her, at Amatsuki Academy where I'm studying, all the students are awakened. It's a school specially established for those who want to become adventurers. After he explains at length, Loki sums it up, whatever, it's fine. Tsukasa raises a fist. From now on, let's help each other, Loki. She raises hers in return. I'm also looking forward to your help, Tsukasa. 3 days later, a day off. At the JDMO, the Japan Dungeon Management Organization, the receptionist raises her voice to stop him. You are not allowed to enter the dungeon alone. As expected, the person being stopped is none other than Tsukasa. He rubs the back of his neck. So it's like that, huh? She continues to advise, please reconsider. The level difference is too great. She continues to explain, for a person to solo safely, there's a rule that you can only go to floors with a difficulty lower than your own level. Same level is an even match. Higher levels are more dangerous. She holds his certification card and explains, your level, Mr. Kizaragi, is 4. For the beginner dungeon Goblin Cave, the lowest monster level is also level 5. It's not that you can't go, but we still can't allow it. Then she hands the card back to Tsukasa. Seeing this, Loki pouts and mutters, what a disrespectful person. Or maybe I should chop her into 100 pieces. This makes Tsukasa helplessly cover his face and reply with his thoughts. Don't say such dangerous-sounding things. Besides, I already decided not to show them my real D card. On the real card, Tsukasa's current level is 25 with the mimicry skill. He takes the card the receptionist hands him and remembers, the last time I entered a dungeon, I was level 4. My skill was clumsy imitation, and the JDMO still has that data on file. But now I'm level 25 with a different skill. If they found out, it would definitely be a lot of trouble. Loki doesn't quite agree and sighs. "Hm, you're so generous." "No, or should I say weak?" He urges her, "Let's go, Loki. I don't want to cause a scene." She gives a meaningful smile. "It's still a bit early to go home. Tsukasa, try using Gonzo. I think it'll be interesting." Tsukasa realizes, "It's that skill I copied from Loki, huh? Using skills is forbidden here, but it wouldn't hurt to try." Thinking is doing. He approaches the receptionist, which confuses her. He opens his mouth and tries to make a request. "Can you let me enter the dungeon solo?" At the same time, he activates the Gonzo skill. The receptionist is instantly hypnotized and changes her mind. "I understand, sir. The procedure is complete. Please present your D card." After that, the two of them get out smoothly, but he's still a bit worried and asks, "Are you sure we won't be discovered?" Loki asserts, "Others will never detect Gonzo. It's the skill of a god after all." Loki looks at him with a face full of confidence. Tsukasa also plays along and praises her. It's just as she said. As expected of Loki-sama. She reads his thoughts and teases, "How does it feel, huh? Even if just for a bit, it seems you just respected me." After that, the two of them are at the dungeon gate. It connects to every dungeon. We can freely go to any rank we want. Tsukasa scans his card, the system announces. D card confirmed. Gate opening. Please be careful. Tsukasa steps forward with determination. It doesn't matter what dungeon or what kind of monster it is. If it's to break Mayu's curse, I'll even kill a god. Two figures. One tall and one short step firmly into the dungeon gate. First stop, Goblin Cave, first floor. Loki puts her hands on her hips and says to him, "It's good that we got into the dungeon, but what are you going to do now?" Hearing this, he immediately replies, "Now I want to confirm how far I can go." Just then, a goblin appears. It's carrying an old sword as a weapon. The level 5 goblin looks at the two of them like they're food. Without hesitation, Tsukasa reaches for the sword on his back. First, he draws his sword. "I'll test it on these guys." At this moment, his status is Kisaragi Tsukase, level 25 with the copycat skill. He rushes towards the goblin with incredible speed. Then he delivers a clean slash. This time, it's not like scratching an itch like before. With this one slash, the goblin is instantly killed, lying in a pool of blood. Seeing him play around like this makes Loki pout. "I see you're just enjoying yourself. With your current strength, these things can't possibly trouble you anymore." Tsukasa doesn't pay much mind, bending down to pick up the magic stone, saying, "What's wrong with having a little fun? After all, this is the first time I've defeated a goblin on my own." Loki sighs. "Your level is 25. Defeating it is only natural." He explains, "The reason my level increased is because Loki transferred a large amount of mana to me. Thanks to that, the goblins I could never defeat before I can now defeat them as easily as flipping my hand." Tsukasa is very tactful and flatters her. "I'm very grateful to you. Thank you, Loki." This makes her nose tingle with pride. It was nothing." Loki looks at him and asks, "So now, Tsukasa, what are you planning to do next?" He holds his sword confidently and walks forward, replying, "Of course I'm moving forward. The target is the boss room." A while later, the two arrive at the 5th floor of the Goblin Cave. Tsukasa leads the way down a long flight of stairs. Loki, floating and sighing, follows behind. Honestly, this place is really boring. Hearing her say that, he wonders, "On the contrary, what were you expecting?" Loki pokes his cheek, laughing mischievously, and answers, "That would of course be a festival of flesh and blood." She puffs her cheeks. "But then again, in a place like this, there are no monsters worthy of being your opponent. This is an alarming issue." With that, she glances in one direction and announces, "Look over there. They're coming in a whole group." This group is a horde of countless goblins staring at the two of them with beady eyes. Tsukasa calmly asks, "There are quite a few enemies, aren't there? Is it because we're near the boss room?" As soon as he finishes speaking, he leaps up. One slash down. A goblin's head flies off. He says, "The first strike is the strongest." After that, it's a one versus many battle, but he's so overwhelming that every slash takes a life. As he slashes, he has more than enough time to speculate. Even with this many goblins, it's simple. At first, I was a bit worried if I could beat them all, but like this, it's no problem at all. Although the goblins are like cannon fodder, their advantage is their numbers, so after one wave, another rushes in. Finally, Tsukasa starts to lose patience. He raises his sword, which is enveloped in blue light and black lightning. Loki's eyes widen in alarm. Loki shouts to stop him. "Stop it, Tsukasa!" But it seems he doesn't hear. Too late. Tsukasa unleashes his familiar skill, Vanargan. This one blow kicks up a cloud of dust. The goblin monsters are wiped out, and a long, deep crack is gouged into the ground. Seeing they are all dead, Tsukasa slings his sword over his shoulder happily. Nice one shot all gone. Suddenly his body seems to suffer a backlash, causing Tsukasa to collapse coughing dryly. He breaks out in a cold sweat, his face contorted in pain. Seeing this, Loki speaks up. "That's why I told you to stop, you idiot." He looks up and calls her name Loki. She explains with her hands on her hips. That's the price a mortal body pays for daring to use a divine skill. This confuses Tsukasa, who retorts, "But I didn't feel anything when I used it last time." Seeing his stubbornness, Loki turns her back and waves her hand dismissively. "I said it's a mortal body because you were using divine intimidation at that time." He now understands, meaning I can't use Fenrir's skill unless I'm in the state of divine intimidation. Loki's expression softens. "That's right. Also, I have something to tell you." She uses her Gonzo skill and says, "From now on, the use of skills copied from Fenrir is forbidden." As soon as Loki finishes speaking, his status window displays continuous notifications. Divine Intimidation, skill unavailable due to being sealed. Vanargan skill unavailable due to being sealed. This shocks him. No way. Loki continues to speak calmly. "That's a warning not to rely too much on your trump card. Besides, a trump card is something you should save until the very end." Loki laughs gleefully, while Tsukasa reluctantly accepts. That's why gods are so mischievous. A moment later, the two arrive at a meticulously carved door. Tsukasa speaks up. "We're finally here." Loki looks at the door sarcastically. "Just for goblins, but the door is so luxurious." Inside is the boss of the goblin cave, the Goblin King. Skill, summon subordinates, allowing it to summon an unlimited number of goblins under its control. Whether one can defeat it or not, they say that is the difference between a true awakened and the rest. Tsukasa opens the door. "All right, let's go." Inside is incredibly spacious. He looks up and says, "Is that the boss?" Loki continues to jeer. "It's just a goblin, but it looks so arrogant." They are both talking about a goblin larger than the usual ones, sitting on a throne laughing at them. Tsukasa draws his sword thinking, "What is this? I should be scared, but now I'm not at all." The level 15 Goblin King pushes itself up with its hands. Black smoke appears at its feet. Then it summons a whole horde of regular goblins. Tsukasa sees this but remains calm. Compared to Fenrir, they're absolutely nothing. "If that's the case, I can handle it alone." Suddenly, Loki uses Gonzo to provoke the monster, "Let your rage run wild." As expected, the whole group of goblins, as if empowered, becomes ferocious. The status window announces Goblin King and goblins have gone berserk. This makes him extremely angry, turning to question her. "What did you just do, Loki? Why?" She gives a mysterious smile and replies, "Just a little challenge from me." "Do your best, Tsukasa." Hearing her say that, he understands, smiles, and accepts the challenge, not forgetting to tease her. "You look just like a Spartan god." Accepting Loki's challenge, Tsukasa, with his powerful skills, locked faces the monster alone. Goblin King in a berserk state. Loki, the culprit who made the monster ferocious, looks at him with an interested expression and says, "This is a small challenge from me. Go for it, Tsukasa." Hearing her speak so calmly, as if this were a simple matter, makes Tsukasa feel helpless. "You talk like a Spartan." The battle begins. Goblin King directs its subordinates to charge forward madly. Tsukasa is no less, gaining momentum and charging towards the monsters. As for Loki, she crosses her arms calmly, watching this seemingly uneven match, thinking to herself, "If you need to use divine intimidation for a monster of this level, you won't be able to do anything." Back to Tsukasa, he is surrounded in the middle by the horde of goblins using their numbers to their advantage. Tsukasa slashes wildly without rest. However, because of Loki's gonzo, the monsters no longer die in a single hit like before. After killing a regular goblin before he can steady himself, another group rushes in. Tsukasa swings his sword with immense power, taking them all down. The regular goblins fall one by one, but Tsukasa realizes, thanks to Loki's berserk spell, I can't kill them in one hit anymore. Besides, no matter how many regular goblins are killed, the Goblin King uses its special skill to summon more to replace them. They're ganging up on him. Tsukasa fights the whole horde alone as they keep respawning after being killed. Looking at this situation, he feels a bit stressed. With the summon subordinate skill, wave after wave, is there no limit? The Goblin King in the center unleashes a whirlwind-like skill, carrying lightning. Tsukasa swings his sword while thinking of a way to counter it. Because the Goblin King is in a berserk state, the newly summoned goblins are also berserk, huh? Nah. He keeps slashing nonstop. If I don't take down the Goblin King quickly, I'll definitely be cornered. In that case, I have to seal that skill. Thinking this, it seems Tsukasa has an idea. He raises his hand to activate a skill, no more using skills. At the same time, the status window announces wordplay skill activated. Iron chains appear binding the Goblin King in the middle to restrict its actions. However, it doesn't seem to have much effect. It just needs to tense up a little to easily break the chains. After that, it goes berserk and quickly leaps to close in on Tsukasa, surprising him. What? It swings its club down, wanting to crush Tsukasa, but he luckily blocks it. But due to the difference in strength, Tsukasa struggles a bit. Suddenly, a huge blast of energy shoots it, sending it flying. Tsukasa, leaning on his sword, frowns and curses. Damn it, what just happened? It was Loki. She had stepped in to save Tsukasa. She puts her hands on her hips and praises him. Your strategy was pretty good. If it hadn't contacted, you would have succeeded. But what a pity, she says with a smile. Tsukasa understands. So the Goblin King's skill? She reveals the answer cannot be sealed. Right at this moment, the Goblin King has recovered and summons another horde of subordinates. Seeing this, Tsukasa breaks into a cold sweat while Loki announces, the enemy you are currently challenging is a god. In this state, defeat it for me to see. Tsukasa stands up leaning on his sword. He remembers his sister. The one who placed the curse on Mayu is a boss in a legendary rank cap dungeon just like Loki. If I'm already struggling with an enemy of this level, how can I possibly defeat him? Tsukasa stands up once more and swings his sword, surprising Loki. You can still fight, Aziyo. Tsukasa takes a stance, his eyes full of determination, and answers her, of course. With that, his eyes gleam with a sharp, cold look. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. With this motto, Tsukasa uses lightning speed to unleash a flurry of slashes, killing every goblin his sword passes. Tsukasa carves a path through goblin blood to get close to the Goblin King. The moment he approaches, it seems threatened when it sees the look in his eyes and his aura. Then it goes berserk, roaring, and is about to activate its familiar summoning skill. Just as Tsukasa expected, he smiles. You used it, huh? He stabs his sword into the ground to absorb the Goblin King's dark energy. He declares loudly, summon subordinates. I'll take it. Your skill. He succeeds. The status window appears. Copycat skill activated. Summon subordinates skill successfully copied. Without hesitation, Tsukasa activates the new skill. Come forth. Summon subordinates activated. A magic circle appears carrying immense energy. Tsukasa smiles and speculates, what will appear? Then a roar rings out. It is. Tsukasa looks in bewilderment at a wolf pup that looks like a young Fenrir, saying, could it be? The small Fenrir wolf was summoned by Tsukasa's summon subordinate skill. It turns its head, looks at him with its big round eyes, then gets closer and rubs its head against Tsukasa's leg affectionately. Loki, who had been watching, bursts out laughing, clutching her stomach, which makes him feel a bit embarrassed. Then he looks down at his feet and thinks, this is the Fenrir I fought in the legendary rank dungeon, only this one is a bit small. Suddenly, the goblins don't give him time to get acquainted with his new companion and rush towards him. The small Fenrir sees this and charges forward. Then it unleashes the familiar Vanargon skill. The only difference is that instead of 4 claw blades, probably because it's still small, there's only one. But its power is undeniable. This one attack creates a huge explosion, turning the entire group of goblins to ash. Even Tsukasa, who was a bit embarrassed looking at the small Fenrir earlier, is now impressed. Are you kidding me? The small Fenrir, having accomplished a feat, wags its tail looking at him as if asking for praise. Tsukasa isn't stingy either, kneeling down to pat its head. He, with a face full of trust, says to the small Fenrir, "Let's fight together." It also happily yelps in response. One man and one wolf continue the battle. He assigns a task to the small Fenrir. "The minions are all yours." It howls as if to acknowledge the order. Then without hesitation they both leap up. The small Fenrir heads towards the regular goblins while Tsukasa closes in on the Goblin King. Now it's one-on-one. The Goblin King isn't scared either. It raises its club and smashes it down the force so strong that dust flies everywhere. Tsukasa raises his sword to block, then pushes with all his might. This time with his own strength he has knocked away the Goblin King's giant club, taking advantage of the Goblin King being off balance. His eyes target its leg, and without hesitation he slashes, making it fall to the ground. It lies on the ground as if still unable to believe what's happening. Then it looks over at its subordinate's situation and discovers that the small Fenrir alone has wiped them all out. Tsukasa sighs in relief, having finally gained the upper hand. Then he stabs his sword directly into the Goblin King's eye and quickly pulls it out. This one move makes it clutch its face in pain. Tsukasa shouts loudly, "Now Fenrir!" The small Fenrir receives the order, leaps up, and unleashes Vanargan, dealing it a critical blow. Tsukasa takes the opportunity to jump up. Now then. He brings his sword down with both hands, landing another stab right in the middle of its head. The Goblin King screams horribly. The result is clear. The Goblin King is vanquished, leaving behind a black magic stone. Tsukasa calmly sheathes his sword. At this moment, Loki claps and speaks up. "You even know how to utilize summons and subordinates. However, don't get too excited. This is just the boss of a beginner dungeon." Hearing that, he closes his eyes and replies, "I know." Tsukasa looks at the Goblin King's magic stone and thinks to himself, "Even though it's a beginner dungeon, I was able to conquer it on my own." It's hard not to feel excited. He finally sees hope and says, "Just wait for me a little longer, Mayu." Loki looks at the small Fenrir, crosses her arms, and asks him, "But more importantly, Tsukasa, what name are you going to give this little guy?" Tsukasa touches his chin and thinks, "A name, right?" He says a name, Ruff. Tsukasa looks at the small Fenrir. "This little one's name will be Roof?" Roof seems to really like this name, wagging its tail and rubbing its head against his leg. Tsukasa sees that it likes the name and thinks to himself, "I just simply reversed the name Fenrir." Then he pats Ruff's head. "All right, let's get ready to go home. I'll exchange this magic stone for money and buy some delicious food for Mayu." Hearing about food, Loki also gets excited. "I want to eat sweets." Roof also yelps with delight. After that, he returns to the JDMO to report and claim his reward, which surprises the receptionist. "Sir, did you successfully conquer the dungeon alone?" Tsukasa says awkwardly, "Yes, this magic stone can prove it. Can I exchange it for money?" The receptionist replies, "I understand, sir. I will process the exchange right away, so please wait a moment." Then she seems to notice something strange and thinks, "But wait, how can a level 4 enter the dungeon alone?" Her direct expression makes him flustered. "Please, it's written all over your face." A moment later, he walks while stretching. Nice, all the necessary work is done. Time to go home. Then something catches his eye. He looks through the crowd and sees a familiar face. Is that? It's none other than Kakeru. He's recruiting someone. "Do you want to join my party, Hoshigami?" The person being invited has long, light brown hair neatly tied in a braid. She wears a red armband on her arm. Seeing her, Tsukasa thinks to himself, that is, her one of the strongest among the young awakened Hoshigami Jin. She bluntly refuses the recruitment offer. "Sorry, Todokun, I'm not interested in you," she says, which shocks him. "What? Adim. Seeing such a decisive girl, Tsukasa is a bit impressed. Wow, she said it straight to his face. Suddenly Jin notices him. Is that? Kakeru also looks in her direction. What? Tsukasa, hiding behind the crowd, is spotted and quickly walks away. However, Jin chases after him. Wait a minute, Kisaragi-kun. This leaves him with no choice but to greet her back. Hello, Hoshigami-san. He rubs the back of his neck. What a coincidence meeting you here. She continues. Hello, Kisaragi-kun. She expresses, the reason I'm here is to find you. This surprises Tsukasa. Jin explains, I received a notification from a receptionist I know. The content was that there's an awakened who is only level 4 but went into the dungeon alone. She puts her hand on her hip and looks straight at him. I don't need to say who it is, but I'm sure you understand. Right, Kisaragi-kun. Tsukasa recalls the reputation of the person named Hoshigami Jin. She's in the same class as me and Todo, and she's also the strongest at the academy. Plus, with her beautiful appearance, she's highly sought after by the media. He remembers a news report shocking top guild Kuketsu recruits a new member. A promising newcomer makes her debut. In my eyes, she's like a star in the sky that I could never reach. But now that person is standing with her hands on her hips talking to him. I heard there was an awakened who at only level 4 went into a dungeon alone. I don't need to say who it is for you to understand, right? Kisaragi, hearing her say this makes him wonder, how did she know about this? Loki explains, it's probably because the effect of Gonzo wore off so she was able to spread this news. Hearing that, he rubs the back of his neck and thinks, cheating my way into a dungeon like this isn't good. Jin continues to talk to him. If it's too hard to say, you can just show me your D card. She smiles. Or is it that you have something you can't let others see? She points at Tsukasa, exposing him, which makes him blush. Seeing him act like he's been hit where it hurts, Jin puts her hands on her hips and questions him. What's with that face? Don't tell me you really can't show me. Loki, hiding somewhere, speaks up at the right moment. Blinded by beauty, that's what this is. This makes Tsukasa blush beet red and quickly retort, what, that's not it at all. He realizes he just said his thoughts out loud and quickly covers his mouth in panic. Oops, I slipped. Luckily, Jin doesn't seem to notice much. Then Tsukasa clears his throat and calms down. Ahem, it's not that I can't show you my D card. He puts his hand in his pocket about to take out the card when he suddenly hears Kakeru's annoying voice. Long time no see, you piece of trash, Kisaragi. He, along with his 2 former teammates Riku and Hayato, swagger over to greet him. Seeing him, Tsukasa also tenses up and calls out, Todo? Kakeru still arrogantly brings up the past incident. I heard you were still safe and sound. But being able to see you again like this makes me very happy. Hayato adds, it's a good thing nothing happened to you. Riku also shamelessly chimes in, as expected of a member of our party. Hearing the 3 who abandoned him shamelessly feign concern makes him so angry he clicks his tongue. Jin also notices his attitude. Kakeru speaks up again with an invitation. Let's put that aside for now. Hoshigami, I'll ask again, do you want to join this party? If you join, we'll definitely be the strongest party in Japan. His face is full of arrogance as he says these words. However, Jin doesn't even glance at him, only paying attention to Tsukasa. Kisaragi-kun, hurry up and show me your D card. He takes out the card and gives it to her. Go ahead. Jin takes it and examines it thoughtfully. The card states that his level is 15. His skill is Copy, and notably, it has the achievement Solo Conqueror of Goblin Cave. She says with satisfaction, so it really was you. And you even conquered a dungeon alone. Kakeru, who has been eavesdropping, interjects in disbelief. What? Conquered what? Jin ignores him and says to him, your level has also increased quite a bit. Well, that's right, you even defeated the boss. Seeing that he got away with it, he thinks in relief, luckily I was quick-witted enough to forge the information beforehand. Loki, hiding somewhere, chimes in, that's my work, you know. Jin puts her hand on her hip and ponders. To clear a dungeon solo at a low level, you're truly a rare talent. He hears the praise and just forces a smile, telling himself, although it's all thanks to Loki that I have this. Kakeru's annoying voice cuts in again. That's a load of crap. He points at Tsukasa and mocks, "This pipsqueak cleared a dungeon by himself. With that trash skill of his, it's absolutely impossible. I'm 100% sure he did something shady. If you confess now, you might still get some leniency," Kakeru says through gritted teeth. This time Jin doesn't ignore him, frowning and reminding him, "Toru-kun, are you serious right now? What kind of illicit thing can a D-ranker do?" Her words confuse Kakeru. "What?" Then Jin turns and smiles at Tsukasa. "You went into the dungeon alone, which means you don't have a party, right?" Ay. She proposes an idea. "So what do you think about forming a party with me? Let's go down to the dungeon together next time." This one sentence surprises both Tsukasa and Kakeru. "Are you kidding me?" Kakeru yells. "Are you crazy? Why did you choose him and not me?" "Don't be fooled. How could a loser like him conquer it on his own? Listen to me, party up with me, Hoshigami. If you come with us, even an intermediate dungeon will be a piece of cake." Jin glances at him, cutting him off. "Are you done?" She crosses her arms and refuses. Regardless, the fact that Kizaragi cleared the dungeon solo is an undeniable truth. "You guys can have fun together. I can't fit in." Then Jin looks at Kakeru and says bluntly, "Besides Todo, I really hate people like you." A damaging statement delivered with a smiling face. He stumbles back. "What?" She continues. "While I'm at it, I'll say this too. Don't think you can hide what you've been doing from my eyes." He remembers the time he abandoned Tsukasa, demanding he be the sacrifice. Unable to argue further, he turns and grabs Tsukasa's shirt, shouting, "Kisaragi, you son of a... It's because you went and blabbed all that unnecessary stuff, isn't it?" He says nothing, just thinking, even if I try to defend myself, this guy won't listen. What should I do now? Seeing him remain silent drives him mad, and he raises his fist to punch. "Are you mute, you trashy bastard?" But Tsukasa is different now. He easily knocks Kakeru's hand away and quickly dodges. Kakeru misses and curses, "You dog." Then he conjures a fireball. "Why don't you use that disgusting imitation skill of yours?" Tsukasa raises his hand to stop him. "Calm down, Todo." But he doesn't listen, unleashing the fireball skill. However, Jin has already approached, and with a gentle wave of her hand, stops Kakeru's foolish action. Tsukasa and he are surprised. She speaks up. "Todo-kun, do you have any idea what you're doing? There's a law against using skills outside of dungeons." She questions him with a sharp, cold gaze. Kakeru, at a loss for words, stammers, This isn't my fault. It's because this Kizaragi guy lied." Hearing that, Jin holds her forehead, tired. "Unbelievable. Even at this point, you're still making excuses." With that, she grabs Kakeru's hand and pulls. "Let's go, Kisaragi." Tsukasa is confused. "Wait, Hoshigami, where are we going?" Seeing the two of them leave, Kakeru clenches his fists so tightly they shake, his eyes radiating killing intent. "Kisaragi, I will definitely expose your fake persona. Hoshigami is mine." At the beginner dungeon Kobold Village, Tsukasa and Jin are facing dozens of soldiers. Kobold Village, a beginner dungeon with a recommended level of 15. "I came with Hoshigami," as she asked, "but what does she want to do in the end?" Jin confidently steps forward. He asks, "Are you really going to deal with them all by yourself?" Jin reassures him, "Don't worry about me. Watch and learn, Kisaragi." 3 soldiers charge at her. A series of sword flashes cuts through the soldiers, quickly dispatching them. Tsukasa exclaims in astonishment, "Amazing!" Loki hesitates. "That sword?" He asks. "You know it." Loki replies, "Yes, it is." Jin cuts in, shouting, "It's your turn." Hearing that, Tsukasa quickly replies, "Got it." He gets into a fighting stance. Jin cheers him on. "Show me what you've got." He runs forward with his sword. His first strike is blocked by one of them. He's startled. "Huh." The soldier leaps up to attack. Just as the sword is about to hit his head, Tsukasa does 3 quick flips to dodge. Jin reminds him, "Don't let your guard down. Kobolds are smarter than goblins." There are 2 ways to defeat a monster with a shield. One is to forcefully break its shield. Tsukasa leaps up, swinging his sword to attack. Or you can. He moves as fast as lightning from one side to the other. Jin continues to speak. "Use a feint to lure it and then circle around to attack from behind." His eyes glow with a blue light. The sword slashes, severing the monster's head from its body. Jin silently praises him. Wow, he's even better than I thought. Inviting him to the party was a brilliant idea. She walks while clapping and praising him. Well done, Kisaragi. He humbly replies, You're overpraising me. She places a hand on his shoulder to encourage him. Keep up this form and defeat the other big monsters too. Okay? He's confused. Big monsters. She winks. The boss room is right through the gate ahead. It's the sub-boss of this dungeon. Right at this moment, a large pair of horns appears, shaking the entire forest. A level 15 kobold general. A majestic monster appears before the two of them. Behind it are dozens of soldiers. Jin gives the order, take down its subordinates first, Kisaragi. Tsukasa understands, okay. The two of them coordinate perfectly, taking down one after another. The kobold general swings its sword, making both of them jump back in surprise. There are still many soldiers on its side. Tsukasa hesitates slightly. At this rate, even if we defeat the minions, it's useless. Jin praises him. You're pretty sharp. So in this situation, what's your plan? He suggests a quick, decisive battle. Clear the soldiers, then focus on attacking the general. Jin is happy. Exactly. Let's fight. The two of them defeat them one by one. While fighting, Tsukasa says, I know this isn't the time to talk about this, but you coming into the dungeon with me on your guild side, don't you have any objections? Jin still takes the time to reply, It's fine. I'm about to leave that guild anyway. Hearing this, Tsukasa is surprised. Jin reminds him, Let's talk about it later. Let's deal with these guys first. She charges and lands a powerful blow on the general. Tsukasa also runs from behind to provide support. He swings a sword slash at the monster's stomach. He shouts, Hoshigami. She immediately replies, Okay, get close to it now. But it's not that easy. Simultaneously, soldiers jump down from above. Ganged up on, they both jump back. Everyone stands still, observing each other. Jin stomps her foot in frustration. We were so close to succeeding. Wasn't that Todo guy annoying enough? He breaks out in a sweat, Hoshigami. She gets even angrier, attacking the soldiers one by one with her hands. What was that about, wanting to form a guild with me? If I have to be in a party with a pampered brat like you, I'd rather play solo. He confusedly asks the person who is fuming with anger, Hoshigami, do you really want to leave the guild? He wonders, who would choose to leave a top-ranking guild like Kuketsu? She confirms, Yes, I'm serious. Well, the benefits aren't small, but the troubles aren't either. Just thinking about it makes me angry. I'll use these monsters to relieve my stress. She raises her hand and says, My skill is an area of effect attack, although its single target damage isn't very strong. A brilliant source of light appears around her. Oh, you constellations! Her eyes turn cold and sharp. Descend upon this place. Simultaneously, rocks fall from the sky, causing everything to explode. Tsukasa is horrified. That's terrifying. You call this not very strong? Is this the true power of the #1 rookie? She stretches happily. Phew, that was refreshing. Only the final boss is left, right? Let's take a short break. They both sit down to chat. Jin starts, Kisaragi, do you know about the hero Guketsu? He answers honestly, he's the first adventurer in Japan to clear a hero-rank dungeon, right? If I remember correctly, his name is Michinaga Dojiro. She says the name, but that's his old surname. Jin explains, after marrying into my family, he changed his surname to Hoshigami. He also gave me this sword. That's not all. He also told me many interesting stories, not bound by anything, freely exploring new world horizons with comrades. She looks up at the sky and continues, I want to live like that too. I want to have an adventure of a lifetime just like the story he told. Tsukasa finds that image a bit moving. Jin continues, Therefore, I want to establish my own guild soon. She turns her head and smiles at him. At that time, I'll need to borrow your strength, Kisaragi-kun. He stammers shyly, I'd be happy to. She stands up and calls out, All right, chatting time is over. We've rested enough. Let's head to the boss room now. A mystical scene, a purple door full of brilliance and mystery. She announces, We're here. He continues, That's the final boss room. It seems someone is here. On the other side, 3 men are waiting as if prepared. The one in the lead says, Looks like you guys are a step too late. I was waiting for you, Hoshigami. And also, you trashy dog. Those arrogant words belong to none other than Todo Kakeru. Todo Kakeru scowls at Tsukasa and says, and you trashy dog. Jin speaks up, what a coincidence. I didn't expect us to meet in a place like this, Todo. I wonder what you guys are doing here. He waves his hand dismissively. Come on. Isn't the reason obvious? Of course it's to rescue my precious friend. Tsukasa curses under his breath in annoyance. What right does he have to say something like that? Jin hesitates. Friends, huh? Kakeru says with a haughty attitude. How could I just stand by and watch my friend walk into a death trap? My old man even sponsored me with some equipment. Jin presses. In short, are you going to fight the boss or not? You guys came first, so the right to decide belongs to you. Although I don't like it, I have to accept it. The right to challenge the boss belongs to the adventurer who arrives first. This is an unwritten rule in the community. Kakeru is excited. Of course we'll fight. I'll show you that I truly have the ability to aim for the highest rank. I guarantee you won't be able to forget my amazing performance. That little brat who only knows how to brag is staring at us. Jin reminds him, ignore them. Let's just stand aside and observe Todo's party's strength. He agrees. Yeah, let's fight the boss next time then. In another space, Loki is watching a TV showing images of him in the dungeon. Kakeru's voice echoes, I'll show you that I truly have the ability to aim for the highest rank. I guarantee you won't be able to forget my amazing performance. That little brat who only knows how to brag is staring at us. Loki listens to every word with a somber expression. She is furious, her eyes glowing red as she curses, Who do you think you're looking down on, you insolent bastard? Kobold King level 20. Kobold King, the final boss of Kobold Village. Besides possessing the summon subordinate skill like the Goblin King, it also has another formidable skill, Thunderblade. Todo is confident. Let's fight, guys. Okay, everyone attack together. They coordinate perfectly. I hate to admit it, but Todo's party is very strong. The Kobold King will surely be defeated by them. The monster is fiercely attacked by flames. Todo proudly turns back to show off, What do you think, Hoshigami, this is my power? A voice rises. It's Loki using Gonzo again to control the monsters. Unleash your fury, become a tyrant, and destroy this entire world. This action by Loki slightly startles him. On Todo's side, red smoke envelops the air. He wonders, what's going on? Kobold King, level 20 plus 5 in a berserk state. This is a similar event to when Tsukasa fought the Goblin King alone. Kakeru still underestimates the situation, launching fireballs. Die. The monster brandishes its sword and charges forward aggressively. It shoots red lightning bolts towards Kakeru, making him scream in pain. At the same time, the monster's sword continues to advance. It swings its sword, sending Kakeru flying straight into the wall. The impact is so strong it creates a deep dent. Jin can't believe her eyes. What on earth is happening? He angrily asks, What do you mean by doing this, Loki? She calmly replies, You still don't understand. This is the punishment for those who dare to stand in your way. Todo trembles, struggling to get away. The Kobold King grins menacingly, raising its weapon from behind, intending to deal him a fatal blow. Only now does Kakeru feel fear. Stay away from me. The monster doesn't hesitate, raising its sword high and swinging it down hard. Just in the nick of time, Jin runs and blocks that enormous sword. She sweats. This is too strong. Loki glares and prods him. Are you just going to stand there and watch? At this rate, that little girl will be in danger too. He scolds, You're truly mean-spirited. The monster seems to enjoy this, baring its sharp fangs. Suddenly a foot stomps on its face. It's Tsukasa. This one kick of his sends it flying. Jin is surprised. Kisaragi-kun. He quickly says, Get Todo and the others out of here, Hoshigami. Leave this one to me. The monster roars in anger. Kakeru snaps, Don't make me laugh. A good-for-nothing like you thinks you can beat it. Hayato and Riku help him up gently, reminding Todo. Except for Tsukasa, everyone stands silently observing. Jin has no choice but to accept. All right, I'm leaving it to you, Kisaragi. You have to ensure your own safety too. With that, she and the other two help Todo leave. Tsukasa sighs. Even for a god, there should be a limit to jokes. His eyes glow with blue light. Come rough. The cute little Fenrir appears. Toto is surprised. What is that? Jin is delighted. Wow, so cute. All right now, go. Hearing the command, Roof charges straight at the monster. Tsukasa smiles and assigns the task, you take care of the soldiers, kid. Roof understands and barks as if in obedience. The monster's power is too immense. He takes the initiative to attack, but it's too strong, sending him flying. Then Tsukasa quickly lands safely. Suddenly something flashes by, creating a cut. It was him who, as fast as lightning, had cut a line on the monster's shoulder. Splashes of blood fly. He thinks, was that too shallow? The monster roars in pain. Have I copied Thunderblade yet? The status window announces Thunderblade successfully copied. Skill, Thunderblade, Effect 1. A stream of lightning surrounds the weapon, increasing attack power and armor penetration. He sees this skill and exclaims, interrupts the enemy's movement. I see. Looks like this move is also pretty tough to deal with. The monster stands silently without any movement. He calls rough. The small Fenrir flies in from a distance. It unleashes its Vanargan skill, attacking the monster. The Kobold King feels the pain. It roars loudly, shaking the entire cave. Tsukasa, who is very familiar with what these worms are about to do, says, too boring. He raises his sword high, unleashing the Wrath Thunder skill. The status window shows the Thunderblade skill has been activated. Besides buffing the weapon, this skill still has another effect. The system chimes again. Effect 2. Release lightning to deal area of effect damage and stun enemies. First, Tsukasa uses Effect 2 to shoot lightning, paralyzing the Kobold King. Then he dashes in to prepare the finishing blow. The monster's eyes turn blood red. Come at me. Then he finishes it with a direct attack to its stomach. A blue light emerges from within the monster. It screams in agony. Jin stands there stunned. Tsukasa happily holds the green gem in his hand and announces, I'm done here. She hesitates and says, you've worked hard, Kisaragi. Then she curiously thinks to herself, who is he really? Loki happily eats an apple and asks, hey Tsukasa, are you really planning to go to the academy? I think just going down to the dungeons to fight would be better. He explains, it's precisely because I'm waiting to go down to the dungeons that I have to go to school. Besides, at the academy, I can gather a lot of information about dungeons. I might even be able to find the person who cast the curse on my you. Loki spins the apple and continues, going into dungeons is the best way to get stronger. Well, all right, do as you please. It seems some interesting things are about to happen at the academy. He wonders, are you going back? Loki gently says, I'm looking forward to your performance, Tsukasa. Amutsuki Academy. In Class 2A, Tsukasa confidently walks into the astonished gazes of all the students in the class. They whisper, is Kisaragi still alive? How long does that failure plan to continue being an adventurer? He secretly guesses, they thought I was dead, huh? This must be Toru's handiwork again. Jin walks over to him. She gently gives a bright smile and starts, good morning, Kisaragi. Thanks a lot for yesterday. He also replies, good morning, Hoshigami. To experience such valuable training, the one who should be thankful is me. Jin suddenly remembers, oh right, about the next dungeon we'll enter. How about the intermediate dungeon, the spirit hideout? She thinks, I still don't have a good grasp of Kisaragi's abilities. I will definitely uncover his secret. He looks at Jin's expression and secretly speculates, she's definitely suspicious of me. I shouldn't have shown off by using my skill in front of her. The classmates curiously ask each other, why does Hoshigami seem so friendly with that failure? Is she out of her mind or something, forming a party with him? Jin asks, when are you free? How about right after school today? Suddenly someone walks in. Upon entering, Todo Kakeru's arrival made everyone fall silent. He frowned. Then he walked straight up to him and yelled, Kisaragi, you still dare to show your face here? Jin, finding it an eyesore, retorted on his behalf. That line should be ours to be correct. You've got some nerve saying that. The two stared at each other with hatred. Tsukasa, standing behind, was sweating bullets. I don't want this to get tense. Todo proposed, fight me, Kisaragi. I'll expose your fake facade in front of everyone. He couldn't help but worry. How did it come to this? Loki, watching, broke into an amused smile. Todo walked over and provoked him. You said you conquered the dungeon by yourself, didn't you? Don't tell me you're afraid to fight. Tsukasa hesitated slightly. It's not that I... Loki interjected with an order. Tsukasa agreed with him. He asked in confusion, Isn't it troublesome enough you want to attract more attention? She said calmly, I find it entertaining. Fight. Tell him you'll take on both of his teammates as well. That guy was harassing you in that dungeon. Loki said, her face serious and seemingly angry. Show him who the real trash is. He was helpless. If something like last time happens again, it will indeed be a hassle. He slammed the table and stood up. Well, then I'll take this opportunity to settle it once and for all. All right, I accept your challenge, Todo. Jin was stunned. Kizaragi. Tsukasa didn't forget to add, call your two friends over as well. I'll fight all three of you by myself. If you lose, I hope you won't whine or complain about anything related to me anymore. The sharp words made Todo so angry that his veins popped. A piece of trash like you dares to look down on me. Loki suggested, if it's just a fight, it's not interesting at all. Why don't we make a bet? He agreed with praise. Not a bad idea. He immediately said, if I win, you have to let Hashigan withdraw from her current guild and make JDMO approve her forming a new guild. Your father is the director of JDMO, so that shouldn't be hard, right? Yoka. And one more thing. Stop obstructing Hashigan's path to her dreams. Hearing this, Jin blushed shyly. Kisaragi? Todo gritted his teeth. With a face full of anger, he said, You're getting too arrogant. You'd better prepare to die. Amatsuki Academy training ground. Tsukasa suggested, Whoever falls off the platform first loses. Want to play? Todo accepted. If you want it, I'll indulge you. You're going to lose anyway. Tsukasa's light swing of his sword created a cloud of hazy dust. Todo started launching fireballs straight at Tsukasa. Have a taste of this move. The moment the fireballs were about to hit his face, they suddenly disappeared, and Riku was already in front, swinging his fist. Riku threw a punch that shattered the ground. Tsukasa quickly dodged it. Riku continued to run and kick, not forgetting to taunt, Is dodging all you know? Tsukasa tried to defend himself. In-out Hayato also attacked at the same time. Try to block this. He shot a purple lightning bolt, forcing Tsukasa to hastily block it. Todo followed up, I'll burn you to ashes. He held out his hand. Firestorm. The flame turned into a fierce tornado. Gin worried Kisaragi. Kakeru sneered. Trash will always be trash. It'll be too late for regrets when you're dead. A voice cut in, asking, Who's dead? Tsukasa calmly walked out of the flames. The status screen announced, Mimicry skill has been activated. Strength skill successfully copied. Lightning strike skill successfully copied. Loki yawned. He was so close, yet he thought he could win. This guy's got quite a sense of humor. Tsukasa said modestly, You're exaggerating. If my level hadn't increased significantly, I would have really died from that hit, no joke. Loki warned, Don't you lose Tsukasa. He immediately affirmed, Of course, I will win. As he finished speaking, he ran toward the three opponents. Riku also leaped up, raising his fist towards Tsukasa, but he just gently blocked it with his hand. The system continued. Strength skill has been activated. Everyone was stunned. He punched Riku hard in the stomach. The strong force sent Riku flying a considerable distance. Tsukasa continued to spin. He delivered a decisive kick with his leg. Everyone was astonished. Yoshimura. Tsukasa ended the scene beautifully. Todo trembled slightly. Kisaragi. Kisaragi, you son of a bitch, he said emotionlessly. It's about time we end this, isn't it, Todo? Tsukasa's eyes were serious. Let's end this quickly, Todo. Kakeru looked at him and replied coldly, Don't be so arrogant. Kakeru quickly unleashed a move. Dog sheets of fire bullets shot towards Tsukasa. With one hand, he swung his sword, shattering the fire bullets. His eyes gleamed. The guys in the stands now started to whisper amongst themselves, Damn, is that the weakling? Jin smiled. This looks like a piece of cake for Kisaragi. Tsukasa pointed his sword at Kakeru. What's wrong? Todo given up already? Kakeru replied, I'll kill you, bastard. His eyes furious, he shouted, I'll kill your whole damn family, Kisaragi. Tsukasa remained calm. No need to curse so much, right? Kakeru fell for it and roared, "You think you're so great just because you beat Yoshimura?" Seeing him keep talking made him lose his patience. "Stop with the war of words. Hurry up and charge." Just as he finished speaking, Hayato unleashed a move gathering a source of purple lightning. "Go to hell, you failure." Then he launched a powerful attack towards Tsukasa, but Tsukasa dodged it and rushed in front of Hayato so fast he couldn't react in time. Tsukasa approached, placed his hand on Hayato and said coldly, "You can take my place." He activated the skill. Lightning has been activated. Hayato was struck by lightning all over his body, screaming in hopeless pain. Tsukasa easily dispatched one and continued towards Kakeru. "Now you're all alone, Todo." Kakeru gritted his teeth and thought angrily. Kisaragi's mimicry skill allows him to do the same as his enemies. So he copied In-Out's lightning. But besides the disadvantage of a low success rate, it can only be used once before the skill disappears. This guy's luck is about to run out. Thinking this, he sneered and said, "I'll show you the difference in skill between us." Loki heard this and laughed mockingly. "Does that guy still think he can win? How ridiculous." Tsukasa also thought to himself, "I want to keep the fact that my skill can evolve a secret. It's not like copying. Mimicry can only be used once. That's why I've limited myself from using lightning and Riku's power again. However, the pain from my past, I will torture them right here." Just then, Kakeru's voice cut off Tsukasa's train of thought. "Don't get cocky just because you beat one guy by a fluke." Tsukasa retorted, "You're so good at trash talking. If you're scared, you can run Todo." Kakeru heard this and chuckled lightly. "That tongue of yours. I'll cut it off myself." After saying that, Kakeru dashed straight towards Tsukasa. His eyes burned like fire. The two charged at each other, attacking. In Tsukasa's eyes now was a Kakeru full of fighting spirit. "Eat shit." With that, a fierce flame engulfed him. Jin in the stands saw this and shouted worriedly, "Kisaragi." Seeing it had worked, Kakeru flashed a triumphant smile. "A direct hit. How about that, you asshole?" The smoke cleared. Tsukasa was still standing and the last attack didn't faze him at all. Kakeru was utterly shocked. "Holy crap!" Tsukasa raised his hand and brushed off the surrounding dust, his expression nonchalant. "You've used this move before. Too much smoke. Learned something new." Kakeru, slightly scared, asked himself, "How is that possible?" Without waiting for him to find an answer, Tsukasa spoke up, "Your skill didn't even fucking hit me." Hearing this, Kakeru broke out in a cold sweat. "What? Stop joking. My attack hit you right in the face. There's no way you could have dodged it." Tsukasa looked at his clenched fists and explained, "Well, that explosion wasn't caused by your damn fire. It was me. You know what that means, right?" At this moment, Kakeru seemed to realize something. He thought, "Did he copy my skill? But since when?" He recalled the moment he cast the firestorm. Was it from that moment, that bastard? His skill has been useless all this time. Tsukasa spoke up, "Now then," cutting off Kakeru's thoughts, his eyes as cold as ice. "Let's end this match." Tsukasa rushed towards Kakeru like the wind. Kakeru cursed as he attacked to block him. "You dog!" As for him, as usual, he shattered all of his attacks. He passed through countless flames and appeared right in front of Kakeru, leaving him no time to react. Kakeru panicked and swung his sword wildly, but Tsukasa had already dashed behind him. Too slow. When Kakeru glanced back, Tsukasa's attack had already struck him squarely in the back. He was sent flying back dozens of meters. Then his face darkened as he called out his name, "Kisaragi?" Tsukasa said, "Don't move." A second later, Kakeru's body felt as if it were tied down. He couldn't even summon a flame. What? Instead, Tsukasa's body emitted a familiar flame, stunning Kakeru. "My fire," he wondered. "My fire. Can he copy my skill again?" Kakeru, terrified, dropped his sword. "Wait, Kisaragi, I surrender." Tsukasa snapped his fingers. Bright red flames ignited. "Don't worry. I'll control the flames so they don't burn you to death." The fire skill Kakeru was always so proud of was now sent back by Tsukasa for him to take the full brunt. Inside the flames, Kakeru screamed in agony. He knelt on one knee before Tsukasa. Looking at Kakeru like that, Tsukasa said, "You lost Todo." He was now battered and charred like a burnt pig, stammering, "Impossible. How could I lose to a failure like you?" Tsukasa ignored Kakeru's words and used persuasion, "Keep your promise." Kakeru, as if soulless, received the command, "Yeah, I'll keep my promise." With that, he collapsed flat on the ground. A few days after the duel, with help from Todo's father, the Japanese dungeon management organization JDMO Hoshigan was able to safely leave the Bloodside Guild. And just like that, the two of us created our own guild. Tsukasa and Jin happily high-fived in celebration. Jin stretched and said cheerfully, "Well, since we're free now, shall we go?" Hearing that, Tsukasa asked, "Go where?" She raised a finger excitedly and replied, "To the dungeon, of course." Tsukasa turned his head to look at her. "Another low-level dungeon." She looked back at him. "No. We're going to try a mid-level dungeon called the House of the Dead. I think it's the most suitable place to start. What do you think?" Tsukasa froze for 3 seconds, then uttered one word, "Damn." After that, the two of them really went to the dungeon. The surroundings were shrouded in a dark, gloomy black. The minimum requirement to enter this dungeon is level 25. This is the home of many strange monsters. He looked towards Jin and thought to himself, "If I let my guard down for just a moment, I'm screwed. I must be very careful." Seeing Tsukasa's thoughtful expression, Jin turned and asked with a smile, "Why the long face, Kisaragi?" "I He scratched his head shyly and explained, it's nothing. I was just thinking about how we should be really careful." Then he held out his hand, opening a magic summoning circle. "Come here, Ruff." Roof quickly appeared, howling happily at him. When Jin saw Roof, her eyes lit up. "Oh, it's that dog from before." Roof came close to Tsukasa and played with him. He raised his hand and petted its adorable head. "I'm counting on you, good boy." Jin's face was now blushing. So cute, so adorable. Seeing Jin's longing look at Roof, he spoke up. "Do you want to hug him?" Hearing him say that, she happily asked back, "Really?" Then Jin hugged Roof tightly. This soft feeling is amazing. Such a happy feeling. Roof, however, didn't feel the same. It raised a paw pleading for help from Tsukasa, but was completely ignored. "Sorry, Roof." A moment later, Jin put Roof down and said, "Back to the topic. Can you tell me more about this dog?" Tsukasa replied, "Yeah, its name is Roof. He is a summoned familiar of mine." She crossed her arms and said seriously, "The skill sounds quite useful. Where did you copy it from?" Loki spoke again through his thoughts. "Oh, for a human, she's quite sharp. She even noticed the abnormality of your skill." Hearing that, Tsukasa scratched his head and wondered, "Is now the time for praise? I need to interrupt her train of thought." Thinking this, he began, "About that." Before he could finish, she smiled. "You don't have to try to answer. Anyway, it's quite rude to try and pry into other people's skills. I'll trust you." She petted Roof's head and winked playfully. "You'll trust me, right?" Tsukasa couldn't have asked for more and replied happily, "Leave it to me." She looked at Tsukasa. "It's a pleasure to work with you, but perhaps you don't need to protect me." Before she could finish, a group of monsters appeared out of nowhere. They were skeleton soldiers level 23. Jin looked at the skeleton soldiers. "I'll break through the enemy's formation. Support me, okay, Kisaragi?" Hearing that, he asked back, "Shouldn't we be more careful?" She drew her sword. "Don't worry. My sword was specially made for this bunch. I'll show you." With that, she charged towards the skeleton soldiers with her sword. Decisive, swift slashes came down. The moment the light touched them, they exploded into pieces. Seeing her powerful attacks, he thought to himself, "I see. She's holding a holy sword. It can cut through these undead like butter." Seeing her powerful attacks, he thought to himself, "I see. She's holding a holy sword. It can cut through these undead like butter." As soon as she cut down one group, another rose from the ground. He wondered, well, things will get more complicated if this keeps up. Then he also charged forward, shouting, "Let's help her, Ruff!" Tsukasa and his companion advanced towards Jin, who was fighting the skeleton soldiers. A kick to the face sent one flying to the ground. The two stood back to back. Tsukasa reminded her, "You're going too far, Hoshigan." She still replied cheerfully, "Thanks for the help, Kisaragi." Looking at the monsters that were still getting up, he deduced, "It seems just defeating them isn't enough." With that, he chopped its head off. But as soon as he did, its head reattached. "These guys don't seem to know what giving up is, huh?" Tsukasa, sweating nervously, said, "This is pretty bad." At this moment, Loki appeared again and asked helplessly, "What are you doing?" Jin, while slashing monsters, looked at Tsukasa. "Looks like you're in trouble, Kisaragi. I can't let you run out of stamina so quickly, so I'll help you." Hearing that, he asked curiously, "What skill are you going to use?" Ruff also yelped curiously. She replied with a smile, "Sorry, but now is not the time. I'll use this sword." She swung her sword proudly. "I'll show you a fraction of this sword's power." Then Jin closed her eyes, held the sword before her chest, and chanted, "Holy Sword." Sifod. She suddenly opened her eyes. The sword illuminated the entire area. The skeleton soldiers were all disintegrated by the light, leaving only scattered magic stones behind. He asked her, "Is this the power of the Holy Sword?" She explained, "I just released the sword's light like a wave of light. For a bunch of small fry like that, this is enough." Then she hugged Roof happily, enjoying its soft fur, and said, "By the way, you can collect those mana stones for me. I'll stay here and play with Roof." Roof now also seemed to like her more, yelping in agreement. Tsukasa sighed. "Looks like she's won you over." A while later, they quickly reached the boss room of the dungeon. Loki spoke up again. "It took you too long to get here. I've been bored to death." Jin cheerfully held out her hand and said, "We got here without losing any energy. Now we just need to defeat the boss." Tsukasa looked at her. "So what's the strategy now?" Jin calmly replied, "Don't worry, Kisaragi. I have an idea." He asked, "What is it?" She didn't specify, but her face showed confidence. "Just wait, I'll show you." Inside the dark room were countless skeleton soldiers standing guard for another skeleton. Tsukasa asked, "So this is a mid-tier boss?" At the end of the room sat a skeleton with glowing red eyes wearing a majestic cloak. It was the Undead Lord level 38 with Undead Creator skill level 3. Loki looked at the boss and burst out laughing. "Looks quite majestic, doesn't it?" Tsukasa wondered. "So what's your strategy?" "Jin," she replied with a smile, "I'll wipe them all out with my skill. That's it." Hearing that, he sized her up. "Damn, for real." Jin put her hands on her hips full of confidence. "Of course, look how trustworthy I am. With this kind of boss, a prolonged fight is a disadvantage." Her gaze sharpened. "Its skill, Undead Creation, is even more annoying than summoning familiars. Taking a lot of time to defeat it will only be a disadvantage for you," she explained. Undead Creation is a skill that allows the user to create and control undead at will. It's one of the most powerful summoning skills. My skill can wipe out all the monsters in here, including the mini-bosses, but it takes time to activate. "Kisaragi, I'll hold them off for you." He replied, "Okay," and advanced towards the skeleton soldiers. Beside him, the familiar little dog appeared. "Roof and I will buy time, so don't mess it up. Got it?" "Jack." Jin replied, "Who do you think you're talking to? I'll do this perfectly." A fireball appeared in Tsukasa's hand. The system announced, "Fire creation skill has been activated." Then he attacked the skeleton soldiers. Roof also charged in to help with a few strikes. Watching the skeleton soldiers being burned by his flames, he thought to himself, "Those small fry were all summoned by the boss's skill. They'll automatically disappear after taking a certain amount of damage. If that's the case, I just need to do what I always do right." Loki replied, "In this world, simplicity is best." Lightning Blade skill has been activated. He swung the sword now covered in lightning. "Oh, lightning! Destroy the enemy before me." The strike swung towards each of the surrounding skeletons. He leapt into the air, swinging his sword towards the enemy sitting comfortably on its throne. But two strange blades appeared and blocked him. Two skeleton soldiers were strictly guarding their leader, which made Tsukasa click his tongue. He used their force to bounce off but was knocked back. A black shadow immediately rushed at him. Roof swiped its claws to attack, but the soldiers managed to raise their shields in time to block. A large explosion occurred. But in the end, they were still standing there unharmed. The boss furrowed its bony brows. Its eye sockets flashed with a purple. A stream of energy appeared, enveloping the soldiers who had just fallen, forming new healthy limbs and upgrading them in the process. Facing the aggressive group of soldiers, he wondered, this is also its skill. Loki, upon hearing this, just laughed. I think it chose quality over quantity. Quite smart compared to other undead. Tsukasa broke into a cold sweat and gritted his teeth, thinking, this is no joke, Loki. To be honest, this situation is pretty bad. Loki wasn't joking anymore. His eyes turned cold and he gritted his teeth. Don't make me repeat myself, Tsukasa. Who is the real enemy you must face? Is it just this undead? I don't think so. Tsukasa gripped the sword in his hand and replied, that's right, I can do this. A smile formed on his lips. Watch me, Loki, she replied. All right, entertain me, Tsukasa. He was now extremely serious. He told himself, just using skills without a plan isn't good. He raised 2 fingers like a gun along with a blazing flame. Tsukasa whispered a chant, ignite. A bright line of fire shot straight through the sorrowful skeleton soldiers. Loki, seeing this from the side, said, oh, you concentrated the fire before releasing it, huh? Not bad, Tsukasa. Tsukasa thought to himself, after all, this is a skill that can control fire. Using it intelligently is very important, right? The skeleton soldiers began to collapse, their bodies trembling, which made Tsukasa exclaim in admiration. What a surprise! Even the monsters are trembling. But as they cowered in fear, he gripped the sword in his hand tightly. He swung a powerful attack, creating a fiery vortex, along with a declaration, and it's also the time they will die. Tsukasa turned his head and called. Hoshigan-san. Jin, now full of determination, replied, thanks, Kisaragi-kun. I'm ready. She raised her hand to cast her spell, Mirror Image Paradise Banquet of Champions Land of the Forever Young. A powerful beam of light shot out. They say a person's skill can be influenced by their state of mind. Activating it takes time and leaves many openings, but the power it unleashes is immense. Tsukasa, seeing this scene, exclaimed, how amazing! Loki also spoke up. Amazing. That's a very fitting word for this move. The ground now had a large hole forming a crater. He asked Jin, so this is the true power of the one called the number 1 awakened of our generation. Jin was relaxed after annihilating the skeleton soldiers. Well, job's done. She held a giant crystal and praised him. Thanks to you, things went much more smoothly. Kisaragi. The boy replied, flustered, I didn't do much. Let me carry that for you. Loki immediately teased, well, all you did was stall for time anyway, which made Tsukasa's face flush with embarrassment. Jin walked away confidently. Now then, let's go home. I don't want to stay in this musty place a second longer. Suddenly, Roof barked a few times. Tsukasa had to ask, what is it, Roof? Loki suddenly warned, be on your guard, Tsukasa. It seems the fight isn't over yet. The boy asked in confusion, huh? What do you mean? But from behind them, a terrifying power emerged. He immediately turned his head. A giant skeleton with 2 horns was laughing menacingly. It was Archdemon level 50 with a hidden skill. Seeing this, Jin exclaimed, a demon lord. Why would a high-level boss appear here? I'm seeing It walked step by step towards the 2 of them. Jin held the glowing stone and shouted, Tsukasa, get over here quick. Is she, As he ran towards her, he thought, that's a teleport stone. Teleport stones are items that can instantly take the user to the dungeon entrance in an emergency. A blue circle of light surrounded Jin while the other 2 ran towards her. Tsukasa and Roof thankfully made it just in the nick of time. He secretly lamented, that's a very expensive item, but it's my only option right now. Seeing that everything was okay, Jin held the stone and shouted, teleport. The demon lord growled and stepped forward, its skill still unknown. It emitted a dark, heavy magic as it advanced on its prey. Jin gripped her sword tightly. It seems the only way is to stay and fight. Tsukasa asked in his mind. Loki, don't tell me you did this too. Loki waved her hand dismissively. You think I'm that cruel? I may be a strict teacher, but I've never surprised you like this before, but Loki bit her lip in annoyance. It seems someone did this intentionally. They must have a lot of guts. Tsukasa observed carefully. You mean we have to find a way to defeat it ourselves? Hearing that Loki could only sigh, it seems so. Jin looked blankly at Tsukasa. Are you okay, Kisaragi? Tsukasa nodded. I'm fine. It's just that a few things are bothering me. Jin gave a wry smile. Being distracted at a time like this is just asking for trouble. He just tiredly looked at the monster before him. Asking for trouble, I hope so. Now mixed with the pinkish-purple power, the Demon Lord's hands also had a formidable golden hue. Jin immediately got into a defensive stance. So what's the plan? Kisaragi Tsukasa replied with a question. How much longer until you can use your skill again? Jin calculated, about 5 more minutes. Tsukasa said confidently, All right, Hoshino-san. You can fall back until you're ready. Jin firmly refused. No, I'll attack it at the same time as you. Tsukasa was flustered. But if you do that, both of us will… Jin cut him off, placing her hand on her sword hilt. Have you forgotten? She proudly raised her sword. I still have this sword. We will fight side by side today, okay? Tsukasa smiled in acceptance. Yeah, but don't do anything too dangerous. We're going to need that skill of yours to defeat this guy. And then before them, the Demon Lord gathered magic into its arm. A black and gold lightning bolt shot towards Tsukasa. He swiftly swung his sword to block it. A drop of sweat trickled down his cheek. You're in a real hurry. Calm down. We're weaker than you. Tsukasa looked at the bloodthirsty Demon Lord and thought, he's not serious. It seems this guy just wants to play with us. I don't like this one bit. Tsukasa raised his sword and activated the lightning blade skill. When the weaker side is cornered, and they will fight back. With that, he swiped his sword horizontally, unleashing a dazzling beam of electricity. Roof was not to be outdone and launched another claw attack at the Demon Lord. But the Demon Lord gently absorbed and crushed those attacks into pieces. Tsukasa roared, gathering a fireball at his fingertip. Take this. Flame Master skill has been activated. He leaped into the air and shot it straight at the Demon Lord. The boss remained calm without flinching, making Tsukasa exclaim, not even a single scratch. Seizing the opportunity, Jin quickly slashed her sword at the Demon Lord's body. Archdemon's body was cut, leaving a wound that couldn't recover. Jin was secretly pleased. I can do it. My sword can damage it. But not for long. The Demon Lord raised its hand and shot thousands of lightning bolts at her. Jin snorted coldly, ducking and slashing to block the lightning. This trivial stuff is nothing. Tsukasa panicked and shouted a warning. Hoshigan-san, be careful. By the time Jin realized it, it was too late. The Demon Lord was already standing right in front of her. She reacted instinctively, using her sword to block in front of her. Archdemon swung its arm with great force, sending Jin flying. Her body slammed into the wall so hard she coughed up blood. Tsukasa shouted worriedly, Hoshigan-san. Jin quickly regained her composure. I'm fine, Kisaragi. Now I finally have enough distance. She gripped her sword with both hands. Jin closed her eyes and cast her skill, Aurora, Judas Scales, undefeated goddess of war, holy sword. Jin was brimming with power. A stream of golden holy energy mixed into the dark space, and she shouted, Release! Her blue eyes seemed to glow as she declared, Here I come. Her speed was so fast it created afterimages. Jin continuously stabbed and slashed at the Demon Lord. She turned her head and signaled Kisaragi-kun. A powerful sword filled with blue lightning immediately swung over. Tsukasa leaped up and slashed straight at the Demon Lord's shoulder, then landed softly. He commanded, Roof. The dog understood, quickly roared and swiped once. The attacks of all three combined and made the Demon Lord explode. Tsukasa jumped down and wondered, Did we succeed? Jin replied, Perfectly. As the flames subsided, the Demon Lord was still standing there wheezing amidst the dust. A surprised curse echoed through the area. Holy shit! Tsukasa cried out weakly. Impossible. It had no effect. Loki, however, calmly observed, No, it's clear that the last attack had an effect. It just recovers quickly. All high-level bosses have skills like that. Tsukasa was flustered. No way. So what do we do now? Loki rested her chin on her hand calmly. It's simple. Either you keep hitting it until it can't take it anymore, or you one-shot it. Tsukasa gritted his teeth. One shot. Could I do it with Hoshino's move? But it'll take a long time before I can use it again. Tsukasa had only one last move. Loki, I have a request. Loki was stunned. He continued. Please remove the restriction on my authority. She asked, bewildered, what are you talking about? The effect of the words I placed on you ended a long time ago. Hearing that Tsukasa yelled, what? Jin looked at him confused. Kisaragi-kun. Tsukasa quickly covered up, I have an idea. The demon lord's hands were now filled with lightning magic. He coldly controlled the imposing lightning hovering in the air. Jin stammered, what? Before she could get over her shock, the demon lord struck down with a lightning attack. The fierce attack created a large, powerful pillar of electricity. The demon lord, excited, laughed mockingly. From within the dust, a deep voice echoed. What's the rush? The system announced, authority skill has been activated. Tsukasa's entire body was filled with power. It's time to dance, you dog. He challenged confidently, now the real game begins.